Hi, this is Steve Rigolosi, and today on Forgotten Mysteries, I have for you The Blackbirder by Dorothy B. Hughes. Copyright 1943 by Duell, Sloan, and Pierce. So a couple of interesting things about this copy that I have are that it is a bloodhound mystery. So this bloodhound mystery imprint by a publishing company that I really don't know much about. And honestly, I don't know much about the Bloodhound mystery imprint either. I thought I was pretty well versed in these, but the Bloodhound books seem to have passed me by. And often, you can, in these books published in the 40s and 50s, they often marketed other books published by that same house on the back cover or maybe the back flap. But on this one, all they do is advertise other books by Dorothy B. Hughes. So I don't know of any other Bloodhound books that I have read, and I'm going to make a note to myself to look for some more on the web, because any publisher that publishes Dorothy B. Hughes has got to be good. Second thing is, my book is labeled on the copyright page as the War Print Edition. So it's hard to imagine, this book was printed and published during World War II. And I have other books that are specifically war bindings or war printings, and usually they're on very cheap, very flimsy paper that, I'm surprised has lasted this long. But this one has, that nice thick paper that I love in an old book. So somehow the publisher managed to get a hold of good paper during the war. And it also kind of boggles the mind that there was a period in our history not too long ago where paper was scarce, right? Or that war caused these privations, that affected the publishing business. So that's my introduction to my own personal copy. So people who watch this channel, all two of you, know that I like to talk about kind of my personal relationship with the book that I've read or the author. And so a little bit of history is, I first read Dorothy B. Hughes many years ago. I think I was a teenager when I got an anthology of her books from the Old Mystery Guild. And I pulled that off my shelf for you. It's this one. It's Ride the Pink Horse and Two Other Great Mysteries. So I read Ride the Pink Horse back in the day, and to be honest, I didn't like it. It didn't make me want to read the other two books that were included in the anthology. But years and years later, just from reading criticism and talking to other readers, I realized that Dorothy B. Hughes was so well respected and so well reviewed. I felt like I had to give her another chance. And when I went back to her, I realized how good she really is. I think that I just was not mature enough to appreciate her when I read Ride the Pink Horse. But with age comes wisdom or better critical reading. And I came to understand what a master she is. But in addition to that, I have this fun little collection, anthology, I don't know what you would call it, called Murderous Ink. And it's kind of a celebration, a lighthearted celebration of women in the mystery genre as writers, as characters. And Dorothy B. Hughes has a piece in there where she talks about the year in which the Mystery Writers of America, who often, in many years, but not every year, announce a Grand Master Award. There was one year in which they gave the Grand Master Award to three women: Mignon G. Eberhart, Daphne du Maurier, and Dorothy B. Hughes. And so the book has a little blurb in there from Daphne du Maurier saying, just for the record, I'm not a mystery writer, which I thought was maybe a little ungracious. And then there was a little blurb from Mignon G. Eberhart saying, Dorothy Hughes, we love you. But I just thought it was so gracious of her when she was talking about the year in which 3 women won the Grand Master Award. The last sentence of her piece was, and the 3rd Grand Master of the year was I. And I thought, that is so humble and so wonderful and so self-effacing. It just made me really dig her. So between her graciousness and her ability to write, I find myself going back to her, every so often to read one of her new books. A book of hers that I haven't read already. And this time it was The BLACKBIRDER. So another of my dirty secrets of reading is that I often like to read books that I know nothing about, right? When I picked up The BLACKBIRDER, I had no idea what it was about, and I didn't even read the flap. If it's an author that I know and like, I just take it for granted that it's going to be good and interesting. And not knowing too much about the book as I get started, it gives me that kind of wonderful sense of surprise and not knowing what's coming, some flap copy, some jacket copy, give away the farm, I don't want that. I hate spoilers. I like to be surprised at every page. And so, from the title, The BLACKBIRDER, I thought it's about a person who collects blackbirds or has a flock of blackbirds the way people, have a flock of pigeons, like the characters in the Miss Cop books by Amy Stewart. Turns out The BLACKBIRDER is a completely different thing, and I'm not going to tell you what it is because I think that's part of the fun of reading this book. So let me just give you a plot summary. The heroine, Julie Giel, is on the run from the Nazis. She has gotten out of France during World War II. She has made it by hook or by crook to the United States, and she is a woman who feels pursued. And whether or not she's pursued, we don't really know, right? It's all about sort of her psychology and her war survivor mentality that, keeps her on the run. And part of what makes the book interesting is you're wondering along with her whether these people that she notices or these events that occur around her are related to her and related to Nazis and other bad guys trying to find her and bring her back to Europe, or whether it's just life happening around her and has nothing to do with her. And this isn't a spoiler because you learn about it early in the book, is that she is looking for her cousin, who she believes is interned somewhere. And she is very, very fixated on getting him out of internment, kind of rescuing him while also protecting herself. So I think this is a great book. Even if it weren't by Dorothy B. Hughes, I would be impressed by it, because what you realize from reading this book is that you understand, for the first at least 2/3 of this book, what it feels like to be pursued. Like, you are in this character's shoes and in her mind, and just you are watching everything around you to try to figure out how you can escape and how you can survive. And I think that is a real talent of Dorothy B. Hughes's. Her style is a little bit like Hemingway, I would say. Simple sentences, very, very direct. Not a lot of ornate prose or fun turns of phrase, but very crisp, very direct writing that you really cannot skim. You have to read every sentence because you might miss something. And to me, that is suspense in the best way, that you do not want to skip any sentence or word or paragraph because the book has grabbed you. In contrast, before this one, I read a book that was a big steaming pile of crap that I ended up skimming. The last half of the book was just garbage. And so the Blackbirder, in contrast, made me realize what good writing really is compared to crappy writing. So keep that in mind, right? That with Dorothy B. Hughes, you're not going to get breezy writing. You're going to get writing that you need to engage with and pay attention to. And this is true. I don't know, there was a point at maybe around page 100, halfway through the book or whatever, where I realized I was holding my breath. Some sort of thing got resolved, and I realized I let out a breath, and I realized I'd probably been holding my breath for that entire reading session. And I think that a writer who can do that is pretty remarkable. Another thing about this book is that, I'm sorry, I realize this video is going on too long, but I just love Dorothy Hughes so much I have to keep yammering. Books of this period often have an approach to women. They are the daughters of their fathers or the wives of their husbands, and some of them are a little more independent. Many of them are more dependent. But the heroine of our book, Julie Gill, is completely a heroine in terms of being responsible for herself, being smart, being aware, examining her circumstances, not trusting too easily. But she is a great thinking heroine, as opposed to some mystery lovers may have heard the abbreviation TSTL, which means too stupid to live. And that is a phenomenon in books where there is a heroine, a female protagonist, who just keeps making one dumb mistake after another, that if she made those mistakes in the real world, she'd be dead 10 times over. But Julie is the opposite of too stupid to live. She is smart. And even though she's partially motivated by emotion because someone that she loves is in danger, she doesn't let emotion overrule her. She doesn't let it overrule her logic and her desire for self-preservation. And so, in a way, it could really be considered maybe an early feminist mystery in terms of showing that not only could a woman write great books, but a female protagonist could completely hold your attention and be as smart and resourceful as any man. So that's all I've got to say, and I know it was not a little, about Dorothy B. Hughes. Definitely give her a try. There's so many good books. The In a Lonely Place, the Davidian Report, the Blackbirder, the So Blue Marble. A book you might consider checking out of hers is called The Expendable Man, and it was her last novel. And in that one, she pulls off a really neat trick, maybe a quarter of the way through the book, that completely upends your assumptions about the protagonist, and just masterfully done, and really resonates today. I mean, even though her books are set in the period in which they're written, they don't feel like they were written long ago. They feel kind of timeless, and I think that will be her legacy. So give her a try. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If you have any other Dorothy B. Hughes books you'd like to recommend, please feel free to do so, and I'll be back next time I have another great book to recommend for you.